Early in our homeschooling journey, I had visions of my children sitting around me while we snuggled up on the couch and read great classic literature together. And that has kind of changed because reality sets in and you start to realize there are a lot of interruptions that occur when you're trying to do a read aloud, or when you're just trying to get through the homeschool day or get through a math lesson, or the poor first grader is trying to read his reader aloud to you and there's 15 people who need, whatever emergency they have. So as Cindy Rollins talks about in her Morning Time Handbook, this is where the plodding comes in, where we are just head down and moving forward regardless. We are unflappable. Regardless of all the chaos that is around us, we can have that sense of calm and know it's little by little, precept upon precept, line upon line that we are building out in our homeschool. And we do need a certain amount of grit and determination to stay the course when we have all of these interruptions coming at us from every direction. But as C.S. Lewis says, interruptions are a part of life, and we need to resolve ourselves to that. I'll read you the C.S. So C.S. Lewis said, "The great thing, if one can, is to stop regarding all the unpleasant things as interruptions of one's own and real life. The truth is, of course, that when one calls interruptions is precisely one's real life, the life God is sending one day by day." So in this video, I'm sharing some practical ideas for how I have managed babies and toddlers to get homeschooling done. So to begin, let's just remember that babies and toddlers are persons too, and they should be considered in the homeschool day. So if getting homeschooling done is not working while the baby or the babies are awake, it is totally okay to do homeschool during the morning nap and then during the afternoon nap. Or if you just have that afternoon chunk, then you might miss out on your own rest time and have to spend that for 6 months or a year just doing homeschool during that afternoon time period. So we do have to take into consideration that these children are also a part of the family, and we want to incorporate them into our daily routine because education is life. So with the big picture, if you've got babies that are waking up at night, what I have had to do if I'm up for hours in the middle of the night is allow everyone to sleep. We need sleep. If people use lack of sleep as torture. So if you're being tortured, if you're waking yourself up with an alarm or whatever, focus on prioritizing your sleep, everybody's sleep. And what that might mean is you're going to start school later, or it may also mean everybody has to go to bed earlier to get a running start on getting enough sleep each night so that, we can be happy and pleasant and enjoy one another. It is really hard to have enough margin to deal with all of the emotional ebbs and flows of young children if you don't have enough rest. So once baby is sleeping through the night, then we have been able to just get started a little bit earlier, and I can even go to bed earlier. I have been setting an alarm since baby has been sleeping through the night. But again, there's still interruptions. There's still, everybody's sick, or somebody has an earache, or 500 other reasons why you might get woken up in the middle of the night with small children. So that's part of life. But what I have found is if I have 2 days during the week that I have been able to get up early and get started on my day, then it really helps to shape the rest of my week. Okay, so with babies who are causing all kinds of ruckus during the day, what I have found to be really helpful is to pin our Bible reading and a delicious chapter book to breakfast. So the kids will all be sitting around the table. We're all there anyway. And usually I will eat kind of before they get started. And so then I can be reading our Bible. And I have been, like, we just read through Little House on the Prairie. We've read David and the Phoenix. We've read some of the Caroline Haywood stories, which are really geared more toward the younger children. Basically everybody but my 4th grader hasn't read a lot of these books. So I'm just wanting them to get in some of these delightful tales. Now my 4th grader has to sit there through Bible, but she can leave early and start on her chore and then go start her lessons. But it really helps us get started right, because baby's already occupied in her high chair and is eating, or might be taking her bottle in my lap. So it just cuts down on feeling behind. Let's talk about baby containing devices. So I have done morning time with the baby in a high chair with food or a water or different toy things that they can play with, books. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. But a high chair is one great way to be able to get a little bit of work done while the baby is contained and happy. Another thing that we've used is the pack and play, and we'll keep a pack and play in the schoolroom for as long as the baby will let us do it. I've had my students will go in and they'll play with their sister, or, like my older daughter, she'll, sit with the baby and read her book and let her, kind of work with her. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, but we love the pack and play. Again, sometimes they get to a point where they don't want to be in there. So it's just not worth it. But mine, I think she let us keep her in there until she was about 18 months old. She would just play happily after breakfast, and then different siblings would go in and play with her. So she wasn't lonely. She was getting all kinds of attention, and it was so precious to watch them. Okay, so the last way is baby wearing. So when my babies get older, I wear them on my back. And we'll go for our morning walk, and then we'll come inside and I'll just keep her on my back, and I might hand her some snacks. But this has been a way to keep her happy, because sometimes I'll put her down and she'll just be so fussy. I don't even know what she's fussing about. It's like she wants something. She wants what other people have. She tries to steal, and she tries to scribble on people's work. So this is a nice way for us we can probably get about 30 minutes of a morning time in with her on my back. And she's happy, I'm happy, we're all able to get our work done. So that works really well too. Okay, and as you're trying to plan and figure out what to do with baby, I have learned it's so important that we give ourselves grace. So you can just give yourself grace. It's not going to run perfectly smooth, and interruptions are a part of life. So it's so helpful to keep that in mind and remember, we're plodding along. We have that fortification that we're building within ourselves. This is on-the-job training. We've never done this before. We've never had this child at this age and all these other kids at that age. This is the work of a lifetime that we are building. So it's so important that we give ourselves grace, take a deep breath. So if we need to find supplies to help keep kids quiet, so I have a 4-year-old who's running around, and usually we'll go play outside if the weather's nice, or might sit quietly on my lap and look at a book. or might get into a fight with our older brother who's not, is in kindergarten, doesn't need as much work. So then I have to help with that. So there's kind of these ebbs and flows. So we just have to give ourselves that grace. Okay. And then one thing about the grace giving to yourself is I will start to notice if I've done a read aloud and my kids are starting to get antsy. Here's what I can do. I can yell at them and say, guys, can you please sit quietly? I can give them something else to color, or I can actually just say, you know what? We're not ready for this next book. Like, they've sat through this one book and it went a little bit long and now they're ready for something else. So just knowing when to forgive that and let it go. And you can pick up that book either the next day or the next meal or at bedtime. There's lots of points during the day that you might be able to, as you study your day, think about, okay, well, when might we be able to do this? Or, okay, let's just try this again tomorrow because we haven't gotten to this yet. I do that constantly. So you may want to check out my other video about how I homeschool on the bad days. We were going through a really difficult time when I made that video, and that was just kind of a good survival plan. So I'll share that with you in the description below. And please let me know if you have any questions or if you have any solutions to what you do with newborns or babies or toddlers during your homeschool day. Please, let me know in the comments below and we can all learn from one another. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.